If you've ever had a colonoscopy, you know the prep is no fun. But what if that somewhat unpleasant experience was actually an opportunity to replenish or maybe reset your gut microbiome? That's what we're looking at today. Also, if you are in Washington, D.C., I hope you'll be able to join me on August 19th at 7 p.m. at the National Arboretum, where we're going to be taping a special live episode. And I'll share more details at the end of the show. Hello, I'm Monica Reinagel, and you're listening to the Nutrition Diva podcast, a show where we take a closer look at the latest nutrition news, trends, and research and answer your food and nutrition questions. I got a question from Fred, who had recently undergone a colonoscopy. Now, no one looks forward to these procedures, but this is one of those essential bits of maintenance that pays real dividends in terms of reducing your risk of colon cancer. If you're due, don't put it off. As a personal aside, if I had put off my first screening colonoscopy, I might not be here today recording this episode. So, yes, I take this pretty seriously. In any case, I appreciated Fred's question because I've also found myself wondering about how that notorious colonoscopy prep might be impacting my gut biome. For the uninitiated, prepping for a colonoscopy involves doing a liquid fast, so no solid foods for a day or so, and then taking a strong laxative solution that essentially rinses everything out of your large intestine in order to allow the doctor to see the lining more clearly with the scope. So Fred wrote, prepping for a colonoscopy would seem to be a pretty significant event in the life of my gut microbiome. The mix of microbes could possibly be improved or degraded as their populations return to normal. Could this be a good time to introduce favorable microbes? When I asked my gastroenterologist about this, he poo pooed the whole idea. And I'll assume that that pun was intentional. I think I understand the doctor's reaction. He's not wrong exactly. There genuinely isn't a lot of strong clinical research on this specific question. So I can understand his impulse to sort of brush it off. But there's an old saying that absence of evidence is not evidence of absence, meaning that just because we don't yet have definitive proof of something doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. So let's take a look at what we do and don't know about this, but also what we might reasonably surmise. There's no doubt that colonoscopy prep does disrupt your gut microbiome. The numbers of certain beneficial species tend to drop, and overall microbial diversity decreases, at least in the short term. But for most healthy people, the disruption is relatively brief, and your gut flora generally return to baseline levels within a few days, a couple of weeks at the most. People with inflammatory bowel disease, irritable bowel syndrome, or who go into this procedure with lower microbial diversity for whatever reason, they may experience more pronounced or persistent shifts. But if you're reasonably healthy, your intestinal microbiome is likely to be pretty resilient even after enduring that internal car wash. In other words, Fred's gastroenterologist could reasonably regard this as a problem that doesn't actually need solving. But Fred's question actually implies something a bit more interesting than just, hey, is my gut going to recover from this? It will recover. But might this actually present an opportunity? If the population of bacteria in your gut is being temporarily reshuffled, well, maybe you have more influence than usual over which species regain a foothold. To be honest, the reset opportunity here may be at least as much psychological as anything else. But hey, if a colonoscopy serves as an excuse to upgrade your diet, that's a win either way. So, with those caveats, let me share with you the approach that I take in this situation, which is a situation I have found myself in quite frequently. So, here is my common sense approach to restoring your intestinal flora after a colonoscopy. Number one, Eat fiber-rich foods, including legumes, whole grains, nuts, seeds, and vegetables. Now, you're going to want to ease back in slowly over the first day or so because your system has been through a lot. But one small study that tracked patients through their colonoscopies suggests that the faster you can return or get to a higher fiber diet, the faster your microbiome will rebound. And this makes perfect sense when we consider the more substantial body of research showing that increasing your fiber intake reliably impacts the makeup of your gut bacteria in pretty short order. In fact, eating more fiber generally has a bigger and more positive impact on your intestinal bacteria than probiotic foods or supplements. And the reason for this is that fiber is the preferred food source of those beneficial bacteria. So I like to think of it as putting out a bird feeder. A plentiful buffet of their preferred foods is a surefire way to attract more desirable visitors. The second tip is to eat fermented foods like kefir, yogurt, sauerkraut, kimchi, and miso. Now, to be perfectly transparent, I have not found any clinical studies specifically testing the effects of eating fermented foods after a colonoscopy. But consumption of these foods is associated with greater microbiome diversity in general. And these foods contribute other useful nutrients like protein, calcium, vitamin K, and others. For this reason, I consider this strategy to be low risk and potentially beneficial. Incorporating a variety of different fermented foods is going to give you exposure to a broader spectrum of potentially beneficial organisms. In terms of using this as an opportunity for a gut reset, I think it also makes sense to think about foods that you might want to go easy on in the immediate aftermath. The two categories that come to mind are added sugars and red meat. In both cases, high intakes are associated with less desirable intestinal flora. Again, this strategy has not yet been tested in a clinical study, but it seems to me that it could plausibly give those good guys a leg up. This is another one that I'd put in that can't hurt, might help category. What about probiotic supplements, though? The evidence for this is pretty mixed, and it depends on exactly which probiotic strain you're talking about. On balance, it doesn't look to me like otherwise healthy people get much benefit. They may be more useful for people who already have GI symptoms or issues going on and could potentially help cut down on some of the transient post procedure bloating and other symptoms. So, to sum up, the idea that we can use a disruptive event like a colonoscopy as an opportunity to nurture a healthier microbial community is plausible, but it hasn't been well studied. We know that changes to your diet can alter the composition of your gut flora for better or worse. What we don't really know is whether the bowel prep or the procedure itself somehow opens up a special window of opportunity. But if eating more fiber and fermented foods and less added sugar is good for your microbiome in general, and it is, then doing it right after a colonoscopy is at worst neutral and at best a genuine opportunity. Thanks to Fred for the interesting question. And if you have a food and nutrition question that you'd like me to answer on an upcoming episode, you can email it to nutrition@quickanddirtytips.com. And if you live in the Washington, D.C. area, I really hope you can join me on August 19th for Wellness Wednesday at the National Arboretum. We're going to kick things off at 6:15 p.m. with a yoga class led by Bikram Yoga Works. And then at 7, we're going to roll into a special live episode presented by Liquid IV. We're going to be talking about the science of hydration, and I will be answering your questions live in person. Although the taping is free and open to the public, pre-registration is requested just so we know how many people to expect, and separate registration is required for the yoga class. You'll find the link to register in the show notes for today's episode, or send me an email at nutrition@quickanddirtytips.com, and I will be happy to send it to you. For my friends in the New York City area, we're heading your way in September, and I'll have more details on that for you soon, or you can put your name on the notification list at wellnessworkshere.com/live, and I will personally shoot you an email as soon as things are finalized. Nutrition Diva is a quick and dirty tips podcast. Holly Hutchings is our director of podcasts. Steve Riekeberg is our audio engineer. Morgan Christensen heads up podcast operations and advertising. Rebecca Sebastian is our manager of marketing and publicity. Matt Hoops is our marketing and operations assistant. And Maram El-Naguib is our podcast associate. Thanks to all of them, but most of all, thanks to you for listening.